Let's face it, being caught in emotional games is exhausting. Have you ever been in a situation where someone's behavior left you confused, questioning your own instincts? And even your worth one moment, they're warm, affectionate, and caring. Butin, the blink of an eye, they turn cold, distant, and dismissive. It's like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces, frustrating, maddening, and draining. If this resonates with you, you're not alone. Many people find themselves trapped in the whirlwind of tribe. A whirlwind of mixed signals and manipulative behaviors that leave them feeling powerless. But here's the thing, when someone plays games with your heart, it's not about you, it's about them, their need for control, their insecurities, or their emotional immaturity drives. These manipulative tactics, and you don't have to play along at the Stoic golden rule, believe that no one has the power to control your war. Emotions, unless you hand it to them. Through the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, we learn an empowering truth. You can't control what others do, but you can always control how you respond. This principle isn't just about surviving manipulation, it's about thriving despite it. In today's video, we'll uncover 10 powerful Stoic strategies to outsmart anyone who tries to manipulate you. Sarin, quick fixes or shallow advice. These are deep, actionable insights, rooted in philosophy, designed to help you reclaim your power, protect your peace, and build relationships that truly honor your worth. Before we dive in, take a moment to reflect. Have you ever felt like someone's actions were intentionally keeping you off balance? Think about how that made you feel angry, confused, or even hopeless. But here's the good news. By learning to ground yourself in Stoic principles, you can rise above their tactics. You'll not only protect your emotions, but also cultivate unshakable confidence and clarity in your relationships. And as always, if you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe and join our community of thoughtful, self-aware individuals striving to build stronger, healthier relationships together. We're creating a space where respect, wisdom, and authenticity take center stage. So let's get started. It's time to stop playing by their rules and take back control. Let's explore the first essential question. Why do people play games? Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Why do people play emotional games in the first place? It's easy to assume that their actions are a reflection of your worth, but the truth is far more revealing. It's about them understanding their motivations is the first step toward freeing yourself from their manipulative grasp. At its core, emotional manipulation often stems from insecurities. People who play games are typically trying to mask their own fears, fear of rejection, fear of vulnerability, or fear of losing control. Rather than addressing these emotions directly, they create a dynamic where they can hold power over you. This isn't about love or connection. It's about maintaining an illusion of superiority. Control is another key factor. Manipulative individuals crave dominance in their relationships. By keeping you uncertain, second-guessing, or emotionally invested, they maintain the upper hand. This power dynamic isn't accidental, it's deliberate. Every mix accidental, every calculated withdrawal of affection, every guilt trip is designed to keep you hooked, always seeking their approval. But what about attention? For some, playing emotional games is a way to validate themselves. They thrive on the emotional reactions. They provoke your anger, your sadness, or even your desperation to them. Your emotions are proof of their influence, a reminder that they can affect you deeply. It's their way of feeling significant, even if it comes at the expense of your peace of mind. And let's not forget emotional immaturity. Some people simply lack the tools to engage in healthy, honest relationships. Instead of expressing their needs directly, they resort to manipulation because it feels safer or easier. They may not even fully understand the harm they're causing, but that doesn't make their behavior any less damaging. So how does this affect you? Emotional manipulation often creates a dynamic that's hard to escape. You start to internalize their actions, wondering if you're the problem. You question your instincts, replay conversations in your head, and exhaust yourself trying to fix the relationship. A cycle isn't just toxic, it's unsustainable. Now, let's shift the focus to power dynamics when someone engages in emotional games there. Exploiting an imbalance in the relationship by keeping you on edge, never sure of their intentions. They ensure that they're always in control. They make you feel like you need to prove yourself to win their approval or restore their affection. But here's the thing. This isn't real power. It's a facade. A smokescreen to distract from their own insecurities and lack of emotional maturity. Recognizing this dynamic is crucial because it allows you to detach emotionally. Once you understand that their actions aren't about you, but about their own unresolved issues, you can stop taking their behavior personally instead of reacting to their provocations. You can approach the situation with clarity and confidence. Stoicism provides powerful framework for navigating these situations. One of its central teachings is to focus on what's within your control and let go of what isn't. You can't change their behavior, but you can control how you respond by staying calm, grounded, and intentional. You take back power they're trying to hold over you. Think about this. When you refuse to engage in their games, you disrupt the entire dynamic. Manipulators rely on your reactions to fuel their tactics, but when you remain steady, choosing to observe instead of react, you take away their advantage. It's like stepping off a roller coaster mid-read. The chaos continues, but you're no longer a participant. So what's the takeaway here? Emotional manipulation is less about love or connection and more about power, control, and insecurities. Once you recognize this, you can start to shift the focus back to yourself, your values, your boundaries, and your emotional well-being. You don't need to fix them, and you certainly don't need to prove your worth to them. Your energy is better spent on protecting your peace and building relationships that align with your values as we move forward. More. Their behavior is not a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of their inner struggles. By embracing this truth, you're already one step closer to breaking free from their influence. Now that we've uncovered the motivations behind emotional games, it's time to dive into the strategies that will help you outsmart. These are not just tools to protect yourself, but also powerful ways to cultivate strength, resilience, and authenticity in your relationships. Number 1, detach strategy. 1. Detach emotionally. Let's start with one of the most critical strategies. Detach emotionally. At first, this might sound counterintuitive. Isn't the point of a relationship to connect emotionally? As absolutely. But here's the key. Emotional detachment doesn't mean becoming indifferent or shutting off your feelings. It means stepping back fair and now to observe the situation, clearly respond with purpose, and most importantly, protect your inner peace. When someone manipulates your emotions, their power lies entirely in your reactions. They thrive on your frustration, confusion, or desperation to fix the relationship. Every time you allow their actions to dictate your feelings, you're surrendering control. Detaching emotionally is about reclaiming that power. It's like stepping out of a game you never agreed to play. Let's put this into perspective. Imagine someone trying to provoke you by pushing all your emotional buttons. They criticize, withdraw affection, or send mixed signals hoping to elicit a strong response. They want to see you react. Because your reaction feeds their sense of control. But what happens when you don't react, when you stay calm, grounded, and unshaken? Their tactics lose their power. The game falls apart because you're no longer playing along. Detachment isn't about pretending not to care. It's about caring in a way that doesn't compromise your well-being. You can still value the relationship while refusing to engage in manipulative dynamics. This requires a shift in mindset, a Stoic mindset. Stoicism teaches us that our emotions are within our control, even if external events are not. It's not about suppressing how you feel. It's about managing those feelings with wisdom. When you detach emotionally, you're choosing not to let someone else's behavior dictate your inner state. This creates a sense of calm and clarity that's essential for navigating emotional manipulation. Here's a simple exercise to help you practice emotional detachment. Next time you feel triggered by someone's actions, pause, take a deep breath and ask yourself to question what am I feeling right now, and is this worth my pay? These moments of reflection can create a space for you to choose your response rather than reacting impulsively. This is where your power lies in. Your ability to control your reaction, another key aspect of emotional detachment, is recognizing patterns. Manipulators often rely on repetitive tactics to keep you hooked. When you step back emotionally, you can begin to see these patterns more clearly. Is this person consistently hot and cold? Do they test your boundaries then apologize just enough to keep you invested? Once you recognize these behaviors, they become less personal and more predictable, and predictability gives you an edge. Detachment also allows you to shift your focus back to what truly matters, your values, boundaries, and well-being, instead of spending your energy deciphering their motives or trying to fix the relationship. You can redirect that energy toward yourself. This is a powerful act of self-respect. The bottom line: emotional detachment isn't about shutting down or giving up. It's about reclaiming control over your emotions so that you can approach situations with strength and clarity. By stepping back, you're not abandoning the relationship. You're simply refusing to participate in unhealthy dynamics. If you're ready to embrace the power of emotional detachment, let's affirm it together. I control my emotions. Drop that enthymements and hold on, because the next strategy will teach you how to recognize behavioral patterns that reveal their intentions. Let's keep going. Number 2, recognize behavioral patterns. Let's move strategy 2. Recognize behavioral patterns into the second strategy. Recognize behavioral patterns. One of the most effective ways to protect yourself from emotional manipulation is this: by identifying the repetitive tactics that manipulators use. These patterns often reveal their true intentions and give you a significant advantage in navigating the situation. Think about it. Have you ever noticed someone consistently acting in ways that leave you emotionally confused? One day they're overly attentive, showering you with affection and making promises that seem too good to be true. The next day disappear, ignore your messages, or act distant and cold. This push and pull dynamic is no accident. It's a calculated tactic designed to keep you guessing and emotionally hooked. Manipulators thrive on your emotional investment. They want you to spend time analyzing their behavior, trying to understand their motives, and working harder to gain their approval. But when you start to recognize its patterns, you shift the dynamic. Instead of reacting emotionally, you begin to see their actions for what they truly are: attempts to control and manipulate. Let's explore some of the most common behavioral patterns manipulates use. Inconsistency. They alternate between extreme affection and withdrawal. This inconsist why keeps you in a state of uncertainty, constantly wondering where do we stand with them. The goal to make you work harder to regain their attention and approval. Boundary testing. Manipulators often push your limits subtly at first, and more overtly once they lead. See how much they can get away with? They might cancel plans last minute, make dismissive comments, or ignore your boundaries to see how you'll react. Emotional guilt tripping. They frame their needs or feelings as more important than yours, making you feel guilty for setting boundaries or prioritizing your self-stomachs. Like, if you really cared about me, you do this. Are designed to manipulate your actions. So how do you start recognizing these patterns? The first step is awareness. Pay close attention to how their behavior makes you feel. Do you often feel anxious, confused, or frustrated after interacting with them? Are there recurring actions or words that seem designed to provoke a reaction? By tracking these instances, whether mentally or even in a journal, you can begin to see the bigger picture. Stoicism teaches us to observe without judgment instead of labeling their behavior as good or bad. Focus on identifying what is happening and how it aligns with your values. For example, if someone constantly tests your boundaries, you can calmly acknowledge the pattern and decide how to respond. The goal here isn't to fix them, it's to protect yourself. Recognizing behavioral patterns also helps you regain emotional detachment when you can. Predict their next move. Their actions lose the element of surprise. This allows you to respond with clarity and intention rather than being caught off. Guard. Imagine knowing in advance that someone will ignore your message to provoke a reaction instead of chasing them or feeling hurt. You can't choose to let it go, denying them the satisfaction they seek. Here's a practical tip when you notice a manipulator. Don't confront them with accusations. Instead, focus on setting and reinforcing your boundaries. For instance, if they repeatedly test your limits, state your expectations. I value consistency and respect in my relationships. If that's not something you can provide, this connection may not work for me. This approach keeps the focus on your needs rather than their asterisk behavior, giving you the upper hand. Recognizing patterns isn't just about avoiding manipulation. It's about tempering yourself. When you understand their tactics, you reclaim the emotional energy that was once spent trying to figure them out. You stop playing their game and start leading with clarity, strength, and self-respect. If you're ready to see the games for what they are, let's affirm this together. I see the patterns clearly. Drop that in the comments and stay tuned, because the next strategy will show you how to set boundaries early and enforce them effective actively. Number 3, set boundaries early. Let's dive into the third strategy, strategy 3. Set boundaries early. Set boundaries early. Boundaries aren't just a nice idea, they're essential for protecting your emotional well-being and establishing healthy dynamics in any relationship. Without them, you're essentially inviting someone to test your limits over and over again, and manipulators, they thrive on that ambiguity. Think about this. Have you ever found yourself compromising your values just to keep the peace or avoid conflict? Maybe you've allowed someone to cancel plans repeatedly, speak to you disrespectfully, or guilt trip you into doing something you didn't want to do. It might feel easier in the moment to let it slide, but here's the truth. When you avoid setting boundaries, you're silent lies ignoring that their behavior is acceptable, and the longer this continues, the harder it becomes to stand your ground. Setting boundaries isn't about creating conflict, it's about defining the terms of how you want to be treated. It's a way of saying, this is what I expect and this is what I will not tolerate. Clear boundaries not only protect you, but also help others understand your values and expectations. Stoicism teaches us that self-respect starts with how we allow others to treat us. By setting boundaries, you're prioritizing your well-being and aligning your actions with your values. It's not about controlling the other person, it's about controlling your response to their behavior. Here's a practical example. If someone frequently cancels plans at the last minute, you might say, I value reliability and respect in my relationships. If you're ruinable to commit to plans, it's better to let me know ahead of time. So, I can adjust. This statement is calm, direct, and non-confrontational, yet it sets a clear standard. But setting boundaries is only half the battle. You must also enforce it. 10 manipulators will often test your limits to see if you really mean what you say. For example, if you've told someone you won't tolerate disrespectful language, but they continue to use it, how you respond matters. Consistently reinforcing your boundaries sends a strong message. I respect myself enough to ensure my values are upheld. One common fear when setting boundaries is that you'll push people away, but here's the reality. The right people will respect your boundaries, while those who don't were never truly invested in a healthy relationship to begin with. Boundaries act as a filter, helping you identify what genuinely values you and who is only interested in control or manipulation. Here's the takeaway. Setting boundaries isn't about being harsh or unkind. It's about ensuring that your relationships reflect mutual respect. And remember, boundaries only work if you enforce them with consistency and clarity. If you're ready to stand firm in your values and protect your peace, let's affirm it together. I set boundaries with confidence. Drop that in the comments and stick around, because the next strategy is all about staying calm under pressure, even when they try to push your buttons. Strategy 4. Stay calm under pressure. Number 4, stay calm under pressure. Let's move on to the fourth strategist.com. Under pressure, emotional manipulators thrive on chaos. They want to use your composure, overreact, and give them the emotional response they're seeking. Why? Because your reaction gives them power. It shifts the focus away from their actions and onto your emotions. But when you stay calm and grounded, their tactics fall apart. Imagine this. Someone makes a sarcastic comment or deliberately says something to provoke. You feel the heat rising, your heart races, your mind scrambles for a comeback, and you're tempted to snap back. That's exactly what they want there. Trying to bait you into reacting emotionally, Sophie, can maintain control, but here's the secret. You don't have to take the bait. Stoicism offers a powerful tool here. The practice of self-control. The philosophy teaches us to focus on what we can control. Our thoughts, emotions, and actions, and let go of what we cannot. When someone tries to push your buttons, they're testing your ability to remain steady by choosing calmness. You're not just denying them their action, they want your also reclaiming your power. Here's a practical technique. The next time someone tries to provoke, you pause and take a deep breath. Count to 3 before responding. This sample act creates a moment of separation between their behavior and your reaction. In that pause, ask yourself, is their behavior worth my peace? More often than not, you'll find that it's no. Another powerful mindset shift is to view the situation as an observer emoji. You're watching the interaction from the outside. What do you see? How would you advise someone else in your position? This mental detachment helps you see the manipulator's tactics for what they truly are: attempts to control your emotions, and when you see it clearly, it loses its grip on you. Staying calm under pressure isn't about suppressing your feelings. It's okay to feel hurt, frustrated, or even angry. Beauty of letting those emotions dictate your actions. You process them privately and respond with intention. This balance between acknowledgement and control is the essence of Stoicism. Here's another benefit of staying calm. It shifts the power dynamic entirely. When manipulators realize they can't rattle you, they're forced to reevaluate their approach. They rely on your emotional reactions to keep their tactics effective. But when you maintain your composure, you send a clear message: I'm in control of myself. You have no power. Here, remember, staying calm isn't a sign of weakness. It's a demonstration of strength. It shows that you value your peace more than caging in there remained over time. This practice not only protects you from manipulation, but also strengthens your confidence and resilience. If you're ready to embrace calmness as your superpower, let's affirm this together. I remain steady under pressure. Drop that in the comments and stick around, because the next strategy will teach you how to prioritize your well-being. Above all else, number 5, prioritize your well-being. Now, let's strategy. Prioritize your well-being. Talk about one of the most empowering strategies. Prioritize your well-being. Emotional manipulators often rely on one key assumption: that you'll put their needs above your own. They depend on your willingness to sacrifice your peace, energy, and mental clarity for the sake of keeping the relationship afloat. Bothers the truth. When you prioritize your well-being, you disrupt their control and take back your power. Have you ever felt completely drained after interacting with someone? Maybe they guilt tripped you into doing something you didn't want to do, or they created so emotional chaos that you spent hours or even days replaying the situation in your mind. Manipulative tactics like these are exhausting because they pull you away from yourself. They make you focus entirely on the other person's needs, leaving little room for your own. But prioritizing your well-being is not selfish, it's essential. Think about it this way. How can you show up as your best self in a relationship if you're constantly depleted? Stoicism teaches use that our first responsibility is to care for our own mental and emotional state. Only when we're grounded can we navigate life's challenges with strength and clarity. So how do you start prioritizing your well-being? First, take stock of how this relationship or the manipulative behavior affects you. Ask yourself, is this relationship making me happier, more confident, or more fulfilled? Or is it draining my energy, distracting me from my goals, and making me question my worth? If the answer is the latter, it's time To make a change, the next step is to carve out time for self-care. This doesn't have to be elaborate. It could be as simple as setting aside 15 minutes each day to do something that brings you joy, journaling, meditating, exercising, or even taking a quiet walk. These small acts of self-care help you reconnect with yourself and rebuild your energy. Reserves. Another key aspect of prioritizing your well-being is learning to say no without guilt. Manipulators often rely on your reluctance to refuse. Then they frame their needs as urgent or more important than yours, making you feel bad for setting boundaries. But here's the thing. Every time you say yes to something, that drains you. You're saying no to something that could nourish you. A respectful no is one of the most powerful tools. It sends a clear message. My peace is non-negotiable. Stoicism also reminds you to focus on what we can control. You can't change how someone else behaves, but you can control how much access they have to your energy and attention. By prioritizing your well-being, you're choosing to invest in yourself rather than in their manipulation. Here's a practical exercise. The next time you feel overwhelmed by someone's demand spouse, and ask yourself, is this worth my time and energy? If the answer is no, give yourself permission to step back. Protecting your well-being is not about abandoning others. It's about ensuring you have the strength to engage with them in a healthy and intentional way. And here's another benefit of Putinjors. First, it builds resilience. When you prioritize your mental and emotional health, you're better equipped to handle challenges, whether they come from relationships, work, or life in general. Become less reactive, more grounded, and more confident in your ability to navigate difficult situations. Ultimately, prioritizing your well-being isn't just about protecting yourself from manipulation. It's about setting the tone for all your relationships. When you value yourself, you attract connections that honor and respect that value. And over time, this creates a ripple effect, transforming not just your relationships, but also how you show up in every aspect of your life. If you're ready to put yourself first and reclaim your energy, let's affirm this together. My well-being comes first. Drop that in the comments and stick around, because the next strategy is all about maintaining your independence and staying true to yourself. Number 6. Maintain your independence. Now, let's explore the 6th strategy. 6. Maintain your independent strategy. Maintain your independence. Manipulative people often seek to make you dependent on them, whether emotionally, mentally, or even socially. Why? Because the more reliant you are on them, the easier it is for them to control you. But here's the truth. Independence is your superpower. It's a clear statement that says, I value this relationship, but I don't need it to define me. Think about this. Have you ever been in a relationship where you've started losing sight of who you are? Maybe you stopped pursuing your hobbies, neglected your goals, or drifted away from friends because you were so focused on the other person. That's exactly what manipulators want. They thrive when your world revolves around them because it gives them the upper hand. Maintaining your independence starts with nurturing your individuality. This means continuing to pursue your passions, goals, and relationships outside of the dynamic with the manipulator. When you have a strong sense of self and a life filled with purpose, you're less likely to be swayed by their attempts to control or manipulate you. Let's be clear, independence isn't about pushing people away or being emotionally distant. It's about ensuring that your identity remains intact no matter what happens in the relationship. A healthy connection is one where two complete individuals come together, not one where your sense of self is swallowed by the other person's. Stoicism provides a powerful perspective here. The philosophy teaches us to focus in what we can control, and our independence is one of the most valuable things within our control. By prioritizing your growth, and self-reliance, you're building a foundation of inner strength that no one can take away. This not only protects you from manipulation, but also attracts healthier, more respectful connections. Here's a practical way to maintain your independence. Set aside time each week to do something that's just for you. It could be pursuing a hobby, learning a new skill, or simply spending time with friends who uplift you. These actions remind both you and the other person that your happiness isn't tied solely to their approval or behavior. Another important aspect of independence is being confident in your decisions. Manipulators often try to make you second-guess yourself. They'll question your choices, plant seeds of doubt, or make you feel guilty for prioritizing your needs. But when you trust your judgment, you become unshakable. Whether it's deciding to spend time with friends, pursue a career milestone, or enforce a boundary, standing firm in your decisions shows that you're not easily controlled. Independence also means shaving a life that's bigger than the relationship. This doesn't mean ignoring the connection. It means ensuring that your personal goals, values, and well-being are just as important when you're grounded in your phase. While you're grounded in your own life, the manipulator's attempts to destabilize you become less effective. Because you've already built a strong sense of self outside of One of the most liberating realizations is that your worth is not defined by how much someone needs. Your true value comes from being complete on your own. When you maintain your independence, you send a clear message: I'm here because I choose to be, not because I have to be. This kind of clarity and self-assurance is not only empowering, but also sets the stage for healthier, more balanced relations. Here's the takeaway. Independence isn't just a tool for avoiding manipulation. It's a way of living that ensures your happiness and peace of mind by staying true to yourself and prioritizing your individuality. You're not only protecting your emotional well-being, but also creating the conditions for genuine connections to flourish. If you're ready to embrace your independence and take charge of your life, let's affirm this together. I am whole on my own. Drop that in the comments and don't go anywhere, because the next strategy will teach you how to master clear communication and leave no room for manipulation. Number 7. Master clear strategy 7. Master clear communication canon. Let's move on to the 7th strategy. Master clear communication. Manipulative people thrive in ambiguity. They rely on vague conversations, mixed signals, and emotional confusion to keep you off balance. But when you communicate with clarity and confidence, you dismantle their ability to manipulate you. Think about it. Have you ever found yourself caught in a conversation where nothing is clear? Maybe they dodge your questions, twist your words, or leave you second-guessing what they really mean. This lack of clarity creates room for misunderstanding and ultimately manipulation. But here's the solution. Leave no room for games. Clear communication starts with knowing what you want and need. Take a moment to reflect on your priorities and boundaries. What are your non-negotiables? What behaviors will you accept, and what will you not tolerate? Once you have clarity on these questions, you can express your thoughts and feelings with confidence. Here's a practical example. If someone is sending mixed signals or behaving inconsistently, address it calmly and directly. Say something like, I value consistency and honesty in my relationships. If that's not something you can provide, this connection may not work for me. Notice how this statement is firm but respectful. It sets a boundary without escalating the situation or creating unnecessary drama. Stoicism offers us a powerful framework for communication. The philosophy teaches us to speak with intention, ensuring that our words align with our values and priorities. When you communicate clearly, you're not just asserting your needs, you're also signaling to the other person that manipulation won't work on you. This level of self-assuredness often disarms their tactics and forces them to confront their behavior. Another essential part of clear communication is listening. Actively, manipulators often dominate conversations, twist narratives, or use subtle tactics to shift the focus. By listening carefully, you can identify finstonstus or recognize when they're trying to provoke you. Respond with calm, direct questions like, can you clarify what you mean? Or are you saying this to address a concern? Or is there something else on your mind? Finally, avoid reactive communication. Manipulators may try to provoke emotional outbursts or drag you into circular arguments. By staying calm and measured in your tone, you maintain control over the interaction. Remember, clear communication isn't just about what you say, it's also about how you say it. Here's the bottom line. Clear communication is your strongest defense against Manipulation, it creates transparency, reinforces your boundaries, and shifts the power dynamic back into your hands. If you're ready to master the art of clear communication, let's affirm this together. I speak with clarity and confidence. Drop that in the comments and don't forget to stick around because the next strategy will teach you how to use time and patience to your advantage. Number 8. Use time strategy 8. Use time and patience to your advantage and patience to your advantage. Let's dive into the 8th strategy. Use time and patience to your advantage. Manipulative people often create a sense of urgency. They want you to act quickly, make impulsive decisions, or react emotionally before you've had time to think. Why? Because haste works in their favor, but when you slow things down and approach situations with patience, you take back control of the narrative. Think about it. Have you ever felt pressured to respond to a heated argument, an emotional plea, or a sudden demand? That sense of urgency is often a deliberate tactic designed to keep you off balance by forcing you to react in the moment. Manipulators can manipulate your emotions and steer the outcome in their favor, but here's the truth. You don't have to play by their timeline. Stoicism teaches us the power of patience by refusing to rush. You demonstrate emotional strength and self-control. When someone pressures you to act, pause, take a deep breath, and remind yourself that you're under no obligation to respond. Immediately, this small shift can make a world of difference. Here's a practical way to use time to your advantage when confronted with a high pressure situation. Gives yourself permission to step back. For example, if someone tries to provoke you into an argument, simply say, "Let me think about this and I'll get back to you." This response diffuses the tension and gives you the time and space to evaluate the situation objectively. Patience also allows you to observe their behavior more closely. When you're not rushing to react, you can identify patterns, inconsistencies, and ulterior motives with greater clarity over time. This perspective helps you see through their edicts and respond with intention rather than impulse. An eighth benefit of patience is that it shifts the power dynamic. Manipulators rely on immediate emotional reactions to maintain control. When you refuse to give them that reaction, they lose their leverage. Instead of being reactive, you become proactive, choosing your words and actions carefully to align with your values. It's also important to recognize that patience doesn't mean passivity. Stoicism reminds us to stay engaged, but intentional. You're not ignoring the situation, you're simply choosing to approach it on your own terms. This mindset not only protects your peace, but also builds resilience and confidence. Here's a key takeaway. Using time and patience isn't just a strategy, it's a statement. It says, I'm in control of my emotions, my decisions, and my life. That's a level of power that no manipulator can take away from you if you're ready to embrace patience as your superpower. Let's affirm this together. I choose patience and clarity. Drop that in the comments and don't forget to stick around, because the next strategy will teach you the ultimate skill: knowing when to walk away. Number 9. Know when to walk away. Let's get into one of the strategy 9. Know when to walk away. Most difficult, but also the most empowering strategies. Know when to walk away. Sometimes, no matter how much effort you put into communicating, setting boundaries, or staying patient, the healthiest choice you can make is to leave. This isn't about giving up. It's about choosing yourself. Have you ever stayed in a relationship or situation longer than you should have, hoping things would improve? Maybe you convinced yourself that if you just tried harder, communicated better, or compromised more, they would change. But here's the hard truth: you can't change someone who doesn't see a problem with their behavior. Staying in a manipulative dynamic doesn't just drain your energy, it slowly erodes your sense of self-worth. Walking away is one of the strongest moves you can make because it reclaims your power. It's a statement that says, I refuse to settle for less than I deserve. But how do you know when it's time to leave? Stoicism provides us with a guiding principle. Focus on what you can control. You can't control their actions, but you can control your decision to prioritize your peace and well-being. Here are some clear signs that it's time to walk away. Disregard for boundaries if you've clearly communicated your boundaries and they continue to cross them, it's a sign that they don't respect your limits. Consistent manipulation when their behavior consistently leaves you feeling confused, anxious, or drained. It's a clear indication that the relationship is toxic. Lack of accountability if they refuse to take responsibility for their actions and always shift the blame onto you. It's unlikely that the dynamic will ever change. Recognizing these signs is important, but actually walking away can feel overwhelming. Fear of loss, uncertainty about the future, or lingering emotional attachment might hold you back. But here's something to remember: holding on to something unhealthy out of fear only prolongs the pain. By letting go, you create space for new opportunities, healthier connections, and most importantly, your own growth. Stoicism reminds us that walking away doesn't have to be dramatic. In fact, the most powerful exits are often calm and dignified. You don't need to explain yourself excessively or engage in long debates about why you're leaving. A simple, clear statement like this: dynamic no longer aligns with what I need for a healthy connection is enough. By leaving with grace, you send a message: I respect myself too much to stay in a situation that doesn't honor my worth. It's also important to focus on the long-term benefits of walking away. When you remove yourself from a manipulative relationship, you regain your energy, confidence, and peace of mind. Stop wasting time trying to fix something that was never yours to fix, and in doing so, you open the door to relationships that are built on mutual respect and authenticity. Another aspect to consider is that walking away often triggers reflection in the other person. Your absence forces them to confront their behavior and its consequences. While this shouldn't be your goal, it's a natural outcome, and whether or not they choose to change is no longer your responsibility, it's theirs. Here's the beauty of this strategy: knowing when to walk away isn't just about leaving, it's about setting a precedent for how you want to be treated moving forward. It's a declaration of self-respect that strengthens your sense of self-worth and establishes the foundation for healthier, more fulfilling relationships in the future. If you've ever walked away from a situation that no longer served you, know how liberating it feels. And if you're on the fence about leaving, remember this: you're not abandoning them. Choosing yourself, that's not weakness, that's strength. Let's affirm these together. I choose peace over toxicity. Drop that in the comments and don't go anywhere, because the next strategy will tie everything together by teaching you how to embrace the ultimate power of choice. Number 10. Embrace your strategy. 10. Embrace your power of choice. Power of choice. We've reached the final and perhaps most empowering strategy. Embrace your power of choice. At heart of every interaction, every decision, and every relationship lies one fundamental truth: you always have a choice. This realization is what sets you free from manipulation and puts you back in control of your life. Think about this. How often have you felt trapped in a situation as though the other person held all the power? Maybe their words, actions, or even their silence made you feel like you had no options, no way to regain control. That feeling of helplessness, it's exactly what manipulators rely on. But here's the truth: no one can control you unless you'll let them. The power to make choices that align with your values is always in your hands. Stoicism teaches us that while we can control the actions of others, we have full control over our decisions and mindset. This principle is the foundation of embracing your power of choice. Instead of reacting to someone else's behavior, you take a step back, evaluate options, and make decisions that prioritize your well-being and personal growth. The first step in embracing your power of choice is shifting your perspective. Instead of focusing on what the other person is doing, turn your attention inward. Ask yourself, what do I want out of this relationship? What am I willing to accept and what am I not? By centering your needs and values, you'll claim the control that manipulators try to take away. Another key aspect of this strategy is practicing self-trust. Manipulators often use tactics like gaslighting or guilt to make you doubt yourself. They want you to question your instincts, your decisions, and even your reality. But when you trust yourself, your tactics lose their power. Remind yourself, I am capable of making choices that serve my highest good, even if consequences are challenging in the moment. Here's a practical exercise to strengthen your sense of choice. The next time you're faced with a difficult situation, pause and ask yourself, what decision aligns with my peace? This simple question can refocus your attention on what truly matters, your emotional well-being, and help you act with intention rather than impulse. Embracing your power of choice also means accepting the consequences of your asterisk decisions. Stoicism teaches us to take responsibility for our actions without fear or regret, whether it's choosing to set a boundary, walking away, or deciding to give someone an indulgence. What matters most is that the decision reflects your values and priorities. This mindset shift is transformative. Instead of feeling like a victim of someone else's behavior, you become the leader of your own life. You're no longer reacting to their games. You're choosing your path with clarity and confidence. And this shift doesn't just protect you from manipulation, it also attracts healthier, more respectful relationships. It's importante. Remember that embracing your power of choice doesn't mean every decision will be easy. Sometimes the right choice is the hardest one to make, but every time you choose to act in alignment with your values, you strengthen your sense of self-worth. You're telling yourself and the world that you deserve nothing less than relationships built on respect and authenticity. Here's the beauty of this strategy. The more you embrace your power of choice, the less susceptible you become to manipulation. Why? Because manipulators rely on your piety. They depend on you reacting out of fear, doubt, or confusion, but when you stand firm in your choices, you become unshakable. Let's sum this up. Your power lies in recognizing that every situation offers you a choice. Whether it's choosing how to respond, setting a boundary, or walking away, the decision is always yours. And when you make choices that honor your values, you create a life that reflects your strength, resilience, and authenticity. If you're ready to embrace the power of choice and take charge of your life, let's affirm this together. I choose my path. Drop that in the comments and stick around, because next we'll wrap up everything we've learned and leave you with a final thought to inspire your journey forward. We've covered a lot. Conclusion: strength through Stoicism Day. 10 powerful strategies rooted in Stoic wisdom to outsmart anyone who tries to play games with your emotions. These strategies aren't just about protecting yourself from manipulation. They're about reclaiming your power, building your confidence, and creating relationships that reflect your values. Let's quickly recap what we've learned. First, we explored the importance of detaching emotionally and recognizing behavioral patterns. These 2 steps help you see through manipulation and create clarity needed to respond wisely. Then we talked about setting boundaries early and staying calm under pressure, tools that reinforce your self-respect and keep you grounded no matter the situation. From there, we moved on to prioritizing your well-being and maintaining your independence. These strategies remind you that your happiness and peace of mind should never be sacrificed for someone else's games. And let's not forget the power of clear communication and using time and patience to your advantage, which allow you to navigate even the most complex dynamics with confidence and grace. Finally, we discussed the ultimate strategies, knowing when to walk away and embracing your power of choice. These steps are about making decisions that align with your values, even when they're tough. They remind you that no one has control over your life except you. Here's the takeaway: manipulation only works if you allow it. Be staying true to your values, prioritizing your peace, and acting with intention, you become unshakable. Stoicism teaches us that while we can't control what others do, we can always control how we respond, and that response, it's your greatest strength. If you found value in today's video, give it a thumbs up to let me know. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe to join our Stoic community, where we're all about navigating relationships with wisdom, strength, and authenticity. Let me leave you with this: the strongest move you can make in any relationship is to stay true to yourself. Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay calm, stay strong, and always Choose peace. See you in the next one.